are you?
Good, what's up?
Everything's... What's
What's
the
the next big chamber event?
annual meeting?
And when is that?
On Thursday, November 9th. You should come.
You and 1,200 of your closest friends.
I used to go to those.
Yep.
I am a member.
I know. Tom's gonna be on stage again. Giving away tickets and...
John's a legend.
Giving away tickets, right?
I gotta tell you, Tom's excellent on stage. I don't know how many of you've seen him, but anytime.
I think it's the magic act.
We all agree that Tony's show this year should be setting him on fire. So, have you made that happen? Please no.
I told you all that story, so I said that years ago. I'm running out of ideas, and we could set you on fire. And then I hear him talking to somebody else saying, "Oh, Frank was saying, you know, we're getting low on ideas. He wants to put me in a fire suit and set me on fire." I'm like, "Whoa! I didn't say anything about a fire suit." Who's that?
heart attacks. The other thing, my idea was, you guys may or may not remember, way back when there was a wrestling group called Extreme Championship Wrestling, ECW, and they would throw guys through flaming tables. And when Frank and Tony did the wrestling thing, I thought throwing Tony through a flaming table would have been outstanding.
You know, there's restrictions on what you can do indoors.
Yeah. Bob stand by. You can have Bob stand by.
Buffalo Bills
These guys.
Exactly right.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun opening if they show up.
We're live.
Okay.
I'm sure they will.
Yep.
Okay, Colin, we're good? Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the October 31st, 2023 meeting of the Lehigh Northampton Airport Authority Board of Governors. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I ask everyone to please rise. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sylvia, could you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Paul Anthony. Ann Baum.
Present.
Robert Brooks.
Here.
Frank Facciano.
Here?
Don Godshaw. Justin Grimshaw.
Here.
John Hayes.
Here.
Ron Heckman. Larry Hemberger.
Here.
James Irwin.
Here.
Jeff Matskin.
Present.
Glenn Friedman.
Present.
Mike Stershik. Jonathan Strauss.
Here.
Chris Worley.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Do we have any public comment?
No, we don't, sir.
Next is approval of the minutes of the September 26, 2023 meeting. They were uploaded to Novus Agenda. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Glenn, second by Mike. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, next we have the treasurer's report. Justin Grimshaw, is our treasurer. He asked, since he is on remote access today, that I'll take care of the report, and I will be turning it over to Todd.
All right, thank you. Thank you, sir. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Got through September, 3/4 of the year. Wow, it's hard to believe that. Well, we start off with the traffic. Again, this is kind of what we've been talking about, that our traffic on the summer had kind of slowed down some, but it's picking back up. We had our best September since 2004. And we're pretty much on par with last year through three quarters and 2019 through 3/4. Within 1% of both of those years. Kind of see what's going on with the bus and the Allegiant traffic. Breaking it down a little further, we always talk about our load factors. Again, we're at 87%, and in 2019 we were 83%. Bus traffic down there, particularly the American, which is inside the terminal, inside the checkpoint, is doing quite well. 6 months out, we'll be looking to do United. So maybe at the beginning of next year, it's a 6-month trial period to remind people what's going on there. Comparing ourselves to all U.S. airports, throughput, what's going to the checkpoint, we're still down about 5, but all airports are up 2. But they have a lot more seats than us. Their seats are up 38% versus 2019. Our seats are down. So we are using the seats that come our way. And then comparing us to our peers, you can see that amongst our peers, we are doing quite well. Even though they seem to be catching up a little bit, overall, we're doing better than the average. Throughput down 22% and seats down 21%. And you can see our numbers are better than that. For the month of September, no cares. We always say no cares. We didn't have any cares in September. And we had a $333,000 net profit, net income there. And you can see that we had a budgeted number of a negative 424. So we don't have a budget, but you can see that if we were without cares, even though we didn't have any cares in the month, but full staffing, that number would have been reduced a lot. We keep talking about the full staffing a lot, and some of these things as we go into next year's budget. We had a really good discussion about next year's budget. It's online, if you want to check it out. But the last part for us is really kind of meeting with our consultants on that to see if our rates are going to be sellable. Year to date, again, I'm doing much better than budget. A lot of that due to our mild winter, which we talked about, and not at the robust staffing that we had in our budget, but still up from last year, and I'll talk about that some more. But again, you can see our number there without cares is almost double, or more than double, the number that we had budget with cares. And you can see our projection, and one of the big things on our projection, about 5.1, so you can see we're projecting to be about pretty close to even for the rest of the year. But a big thing that's different from our original budget is we took out 1.4 and change of CARES and ARPA that we're not going to take out this year. They're going to be pushed into 2024 and 2025. As you remember, the last year where we can use CARES is 2025. So can't kick it back any further than 2025. But again, there's a reason we're doing that to kind of use that as part of our strategic process, which we've done a really good job of. And I always like to see this streak here. I'm hoping for 12 for 12. We're 9 out of 9 so far. That's positive net income, excluding CARES, and one-time kind of miscellaneous income. How you doing? How are you? All right. Then we show our cash. We're actually showing it at the 74,000 now. That's kind of the projected number for the 2024 budget. But you can see based on that number, we stay well above our 60, and for the most part, we stay above 200 days cash on hand. Any questions? When it's good news, you try to keep it short and sweet.
You could jump back to the cash on hand for a second.
Sure.
Just to point out in terms of that number, the $74,000 per day is our projected 2024 number, and that's up 25% from where it was 2 years ago.
Yes, that's a big number.
So to give you an idea in terms of, we talked about inflation, we talked about expenses, we are seeing that.
Right. And again, we understand what's going on in our market, but again, what we have to do is make sure it's something that our customers are going to pay for. So we can say this is what it costs us, but if they don't pay, it doesn't work. So that's a big part of what we're doing. We've increased our cost, a lot of that based on what's going on in the market, and we really want to take care of our folks. That's one of our core things that we try to do. But again, at the end of the day, if the airlines and our customers say we don't want to pay, we got to deal with it from that perspective. But we don't have the final say. The customer always does. So, any questions?
Entertain a motion to accept the finance report. Motion by Bobby, second by Larry. Any questions for Todd?
And I will say one thing before we did have a really good budget discussion, longer than I usually talk. So if you feel like being bored, you have nothing else to do, by all means, check it out online. And we'll go over the same stuff next month, but you get a really good idea of where we are going into 2024 at this point.
Yeah, those videos get posted pretty quickly on our YouTube channel, so it's an easy access point to see. So that was a good discussion in terms of the budget, because there is a lot going on.
There's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, and we want to make sure as a board and as staff, we're all on the same page going into next year. Because again, we want to make sure we have a soft landing going into 2026, because that's when there is no more cares. And next year is a benchmark year. We're going to be doing our refinancing of our bonds in 2025. So that's going to be the year they look at when we talk about our refinancing in 2025. They'll be looking at 2024's results to see where we are and what kind of debt we can handle. Yes?
I just had a quick question. Last
say we had a surplus because we had a mild winter, so didn't use much as glycol as we had in the past and whatever. How do we account for those funds? Do we just roll them over for the following year?
I mean, it's not really how it runs over. We have a budgeted number that we start out with in our expenses, and that's what it is. And that's why you said, well, we're doing better than those results. What happens is we end up with a lot more cash on the end than we originally anticipated. So it's good to do better than budgeted as long as we get to keep the money, because there's some of these funds gotta remember, we are partners with the airlines, which is part of the reasons that we've been very strategic about the CARES. Because as we do really, really well, we have to give a lot of that money back to the airlines, so we don't get to keep it. But to your point, if it's a mild winter, we can use that for other things, infrastructure, cash, whatever. But at the end of the day, there's only so much in the pot. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, no, you got it.
Other questions for Todd? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Todd, thank you. Justin, do we have anything else for the treasurer's report today?
Not that I am aware of.
Okay, sounds good. Then we'll move into the business committee. We have the award for the bid of the rental rubber tire loaders. I believe that's Steve.
John, good afternoon, everybody. This is our biennial rental contract for our rental loaders to augment our snow removal operation. We typically rent a 3 cubic yard loader, an 8 cubic yard loader, and a skid steer. So we put this out to bid in September. We actually did this through Penn Bid and sent out 2,300 notifications and also contacted 9 local rental companies. We got 2 responses. One was Groff and one was Foley, both locally based with branch offices, and we requested award the bid to Groff Tractor and Equipment out of Mechanicsburg. They are for $141,000 total contract price over the 2 years. We'll be budgeting for the $68,000 for this coming snow season into 2024. And to Todd's point, if you look at our previous contract that was done 3 years ago, it was $99,000. Just some stipulations within the contract. We need new equipment. They're going to be here with service within 4 hours from the time of notification, so it's important that we're dealing with the local branch. And then we do have some liquidated damages, if a machine dies and they can't replace it, we need to find it. So we'd recommend that we award the rubber tire rental loader contract to Groff Tractor and Equipment of Mechanicsburg, PA for a total contract price of $141,000.
Entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Glenn, second by Bobby. Discussion or questions for Steve?
How many people do we have certified to run that equipment here?
Well, it basically operates the same as our current loaders, so we do the training for that. But when the new equipment gets here, we do some orientation and on-the-job training for that.
Would the maintenance would come out of Bethlehem then?
Yeah,
Well,
Mechanicsburg
that's
office.
located.
Yep, Stoke Park Road. They're actually occupying the same location as Placer. It's just Placer equipment went away rough.
Okay.
Didn't know that.
Steve, to Jim's question, are there 2 people that can do it, 10 people that can operate it?
We probably have 8 to 10 rental loader specialists. A couple of the guys, we have a couple of our mechanics that are concrete pavement specialists or absolute masters with this equipment. So, yeah. Primarily that 8 cubic yard loader will basically bulldoze the building if it gets out of hand. So it takes a special skill to operate that thing safely. Sorry, Jim, if I misunderstood the question.
Other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next is approval of the commercial vehicle parking access permit rate adjustment.
Hold on.
That one, Todd, or is that?
That's Todd.
That's
Easy
me.
for you to say.
I get up here.
I had to read that one.
Before I talk about this, I just think of one thing on Larry's question. Part of the reason that we're able to carry some of that CARES forward and that we have some of the extra CARES is because we're doing better than we anticipated. So I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but again, we use everything that comes our way. Trust me, nothing goes away. So again, this is about increasing our costs. So permit fees would be for taxis. We really really have any taxis. We have an exclusive arrangement, but from years back, we had taxis. We
Are
have,
there any taxis left in the Lehigh Valley?
we have one with Your Way. They have a contract with us. They're exclusive at this point. We have, that's for the shuttles, bus shuttles, and hotel shuttles, and also I think we have some limousine service and some of that comes up. So this is just what they pay. And these rates weren't increased since 2017, so it's kind of going along. As Steve said, we've been talking about costs go up, we got to increase our costs consistent with this. It's only going to be about a $5,000 incremental increase for us because it's not a lot of money. But again, it's setting the tone that we got to start raising our costs to pay for some of these additional fees and expenses that we have. So, any questions?
Is this Uber and Lyft?
No, Uber and Lyft pays a separate agreement. on that.
Separate. Did we get something worked out with that Turo yet? Do you know?
We're
I know-
working on that. I know Darren's working.
Yeah,
All right.
still working on that.
Just, I have a question about the taxi service. Where do you find out that there is a taxi service? Like, I didn't know that. Like, I don't see that anywhere. Is that?
I think there's signs out there,
Is it
I believe.
On the lower level.
On the lower level,
On the lower level down by the bag claim.
Yeah,
area.
there's a sign that's
So
at
you guys call from there, like, you
Yeah.
get off the airplane, you call them,
Mhm.
they're the only taxi that can come.
They're the only ones that can come here. Now, we do have a few.
Only taxi service, but yeah, Uber and Lyft, obviously.
Right.
The only one
Right.
legitimately supposed to be, we have some scabs that try to sneak in from now and time.
Just, I
But
didn't
most
know.
of the time, yes, that's it. But you can see how business has changed. Most of the stuff now is Uber and Lyft, but yes.
That's why I asked about whether there were any taxis left. I never see any.
But that was part of the reason we had to do an exclusive arrangement, because we wanted taxi service here. We had to do that to kind of make sure we had some service here for taxis. Any questions?
Entertain a motion to approve? So moved. Motion by Mike, second by Bobby. Any additional discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the subject motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Todd, thank you. Justin, do we have anything else for business committee?
I do not, John. Thank you for taking care of that stuff today.
Sure, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, next is executive committee report. Just a brief update. We did get just about all of the reviews in for the executive director and for our solicitors, so I'll be consolidating that information. Game plan is the same as we had last year. That information will be consolidated. It'll go out to all directors, and then it'll be a discussion point during executive committee, during executive session during our next executive committee meeting at the November meeting. So that's the game plan. If everyone could attend, that would be great, so that we can cover that and take care of the reviews. So, any questions on the review process? Okay. All right, Tom, you're up.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, as Todd mentioned, good numbers for September. As we predicted, we talked a little bit about the fact that things would be a little bit of a lull for us in the summertime. Still good turnout for the summer travel season, but again, up almost 5% for September, and starting to see some numbers in terms of October. We look at the through checkpoints nationally and what happened here at ABE. Nationally, checkpoint volume was up about 11% in October over last October. Here at ABE, we were up 15.6%. So significantly up, and that's great to see. In terms of scheduled seats, when we look at November scheduled seats for ABE over last November, nationally, we're up about 8%, but here at ABE, we're up 14.6% in scheduled seats. So Todd's talking about what we're seeing in terms of seats in the market, some of those seats coming back, and just kind of what we talked about, seeing that uptick in the last quarter here, and so it's great to see that return. In terms of cargo, cargo was up 15%, just about 24 million pounds processed in September, best September on record. When we look at sort of what's happened since our last meeting in September 26th, October 2nd through the 6th, we had Customer Appreciation Week. On the 5th of October, it was Passenger Appreciation Week, so a number of folks out in the terminal. All of our advertisers exhibited. We had folks out there. I got so many compliments from even our advertisers about the activity in the terminal and all the engagement with the passengers. People were really excited about being in the terminal space and interacting with passengers coming through. So it was a really, really fun event. That same week, the 2nd through the 6th, we had a TSA PreCheck open enrollment. We had 196 people registered during that time, so a great ad. On October 7th, the Lehigh Valley Plane Pull, so Special Olympics Pennsylvania as well as FedEx put that together with 17 teams. Weather wasn't perfect, but it was certainly a great event. And thanks to Paul and Justin and the IBEW for having a team in that. I think that was a real great event.
Did they win?
They did not.
They said they were going, that was guaranteed a win, if I remember correctly, Justin.
They actually had to pull the plane like, what, 3 or 4 times, so.
They had to pull 3 or 4 times, and
We
the team
wore 'em
that
out a
won
little bit
had a
before.
lot more people on the rope.
Is that what yes. Seems like.
We're already in training for next year. We should.
Love it, love it. All right, thanks, Justin. October 9th through the 11th, we hosted the Aviation Council of Pennsylvania's 43rd Annual Conference at Hotel Bethlehem. Great event. So we were real excited to bring that here. Over about 200 or so attendees from across the state. October 9th through the 13th was National Fire Prevention Week. So our firefighters were set up in the departure building and had a table, some handouts, interacting with passengers. It was a good time out at the gate concourse. October 23rd, Bethlehem Area School District. Some folks from the Bethlehem Area School District were here. We had a little luncheon and tour, talking about aviation careers and kind of talking about some opportunities there. I think it was a great conversation, really opening up ideas about what types of jobs are available right here. And so doing a lot more of that as we move forward.
So something we could reach into the Allentown School District as well?
Definitely.
Okay, good.
We have a program that helps high school kids get into college. We would love for you to be able to speak to them about
Love
careers.
it. Great.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you. On October 26th, we hosted the North Montco Technical Career Center here. And again, talking about aviation careers and in this case, looking at some of our public safety groups, our police and fire, and spending some time with those groups. I think that was a great visit as well. In terms of upcoming events, tomorrow is November 1st already, and we'll be attending the Community Action Committee Lehigh Valley annual meeting. We were there last year, and as a result of that, we got involved in the Military Share Pack program. We had a number of staff doing that. We're going to be doing it again this year, so we thank you for that. November 6th is our next Fear of Flying seminar. That is sold out, so we continue to add those, but we continue to sell them out. Very popular seminars. Did we have some other people signing up for that? November 9th, Frank, anything going on that day?
Sure, the chamber annual meeting.
Chamber annual meeting, so we'll be there. We'll be giving away some tickets, so looking forward to that. November 15th, staff is attending a career fair at the Lehigh Valley Academy Regional Charter School, just across the street in the Industrial Park, so happy to do that. November 17th, 2 events. We've got Allegiant starting their Melbourne service twice a week, so that starts Mondays and Fridays, so looking forward to kicking that off down to the Space Coast. The 17th, also the potential for, if we don't get a continuing resolution, for federal funding to expire for our friends at the TSA. The FAA was extended, their authorization was extended through the end of the calendar year, so we have that in place, but could present some challenges for us, again, if we end up in a situation where the funding expires. So we're keeping an eye on that, but at this point, that's what we know is what you know. So that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Tom. Good
When
report.
does the
Questions?
funding expire if they don't do anything?
The 17th of November is the expiration of that. For, in this case, for the TSA, the FAA's authorization was extended to the end of the calendar year.
Will that bring a ground to whole flights throughout the country?
No. No. The FAA is obviously going to continue to operate, as will the TSA. They're mandated to continue operating the checkpoints, but certainly some functions will, some of the administrative positions and other things. So it's going to be difficult coordinating some of those communications with the rest of the TSA team. So some challenges there for sure if that ends up coming to pass.
Tom, do we have a call or not a call for a flight across the state? Like I know like a bunch of people, they're able to come in from out west from a smaller airport, Penn State, State College Airport, into Philadelphia.
Sure.
Rather inexpensive. And we don't have anything that just jumps out to Pittsburgh or anything. Do we not have a call for that? Is that?
I think there is a lot of interest in a flight to Pitt.
This guy.
They used to do it.
But, yeah,
We used to
I
do
was
it.
just curious, like,
When US Air had their hub, Allegheny was moving out there quite a number of times a day, and that stopped when US Air sort of stopped operations at Pittsburgh.
right.
But yeah, it would be interesting to get the right partner on that one. Again, it comes back to having the right carrier, because we don't really have anybody hubbing at Pitt that wants to connect us there, and getting the right aircraft on that route. A lot of the turboprops and those types of aircraft that we would see on a route like that have been retired. There's very few in the system anymore.
So it's not about not wanting it, it's about finding the right partner that can make it all happen.
Make that happen and make economic sense for the carrier, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Add Pittsburgh to the list with Boston, Vegas, and San Juan.
Take them all. I'll take them all.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of people who would take a flight to Pittsburgh because they're going out there for a meeting or something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a slog to drive out there and, you know, drive back. You can't do it in one day.
Right.
It's tough to do it.
It is, it is.
Yep.
They have it from Philly, don't they? Philly goes to Pittsburgh.
Sure. Yeah, and because they're a hub, they can have all those
I know
spokes.
people that take that flight.
Yes,
They live here. They'd rather drive to Philly.
Make sure they know they can take the bus, they can connect. Because with getting that behind the security line up here, that's a big deal. There are times down in Philly where it can be an adventure to get through TSA.
Does it go behind now?
yeah, American does.
American does, and
United does not.
United will.
We're very hopeful United will once we get through the testing of the temporary measure.
Okay, any other questions for Tom?
Just as a side note, there's nowhere you can't go in the world, really, if you're willing to make a connection,
That's right.
whether you're going to Chicago, Atlanta, wherever. We have the service.
One connection from anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
If you're driving to Philly, well, you probably could be making a connection somewhere else in the time you drive to Philadelphia.
It's a straight shot on 78 Philly.
I'd rather you
Crazy
come here.
traffic. Well, if we have the flights, I would rather come here.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Tom? Okay, Tom, thank you, appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Solicitor Marcon, do you have a report today?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a few items worth mentioning. We continue to follow up on any open Rockefeller matters, including retaining wall repair, and the purchase of one of the parcels that was involved in the deal from way back when. Also, we've looked into whether or not LNAA should apply for some different kind of tax classifications in Lehigh County that are the parcels that are currently being used for agricultural purposes. So that's with Matt McConnell, and discussion will follow. We're sort of in the middle of that. My office prepared a temporary use permit that can be used for anyone who needs to come onto the property. Specifically, this one was for spraying for pest control. And the state actually coming in to fuel and use a helicopter, but it could be adapted to any sort of temporary use where a license or permit is appropriate. Something that would only be used for a day or maybe another short period of time. And then finally, in the stormwater case, we filed our amicus brief with the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, and so we're just waiting there to see how the court will dispose of that. What their opinion will be. There's a possibility, I suppose, that they could remand it to the Commonwealth Court for more fact-finding. This action was filed in original jurisdiction with the Commonwealth Court, so that it acts like a trial court. So we just don't know what they're going to do. In the meantime, our Lehigh County case is stayed. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions for Solicitor Marcon?
We continue to pay that, right? Every year?
We do.
It's paid under protest. Except that there's no delinquency and not complying, but that is put forth as, we're only doing this to avoid further consequences, but we don't agree that we should be paying. And there's a mechanism for that. So the hope is that the refund will be easier to obtain.
Todd, we've got to be north of 300,000 at this point that we paid.
I think this is supposed to be.
It's 80 a year?
Probably about there.
About 70 a year.
Yep. Okay. Okay, thank you, Elizabeth, appreciate it. Does anyone have any new business to bring before the board today? I just have one question. I saw the permit application for the liquor license for the new vendor here posted outside. Where are we with that project? When will everything open, everything convert over?
Colin, do we have an update on that?
Yeah, so the Liquor Control Board is reviewing the application right now. They meet in November. So the hope is that they'll have that on their agenda in November. I was in Harrisburg the other day and that's the hope.
Okay.
So we'll keep everybody posted.
Okay. Have they started construction on the new bar that's going to be out in the center of the gate area?
No.
They won't do that until they get the license?
Yep.
Okay.
And I know they're working through that process with the township as well for the plan
Okay.
review.
Okay. Sounds
And
good.
Mr., what will go in the area that is the bar restaurant now?
So so there's a number of different concession options that we'll have. In the area that's the restaurant now, there will be some grab-and-go type concessions as well as a national brand, a Which.
Right?
Yeah, so we have one of those in the
There's
Lehigh
one on
Valley.
Old 22 just west of the turnpike. Yeah, they have good sandwiches. I've gone there.
So it's, again, different sandwiches there, as well as, there'll be a gift shop, roughly where the gift shop is today, so you'll have that. And then a more centralized bar area in the center of the concourse, so, yeah.
It
So I
should
have
be
a
nice when it's
number of
done.
options, I think. Z-Craft is another local brand, that'll be part of that.
Right.
And so we're looking forward to having, a number of choices for folks.
Good. Okay. Anyone else have any new business? I don't believe we have need for exec session today. Does anyone have a need? Solicitor Marcon, do we have a need?
Chico.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, entertain a motion to adjourn.
No move.
Motion by Glenn, we're good. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Our dates for November are.
Tuesday and Tuesday.
Yeah, they're 21st, Tuesday the 21st for committees and the 28th, Tuesday the 28th for board.
Okay.
And I'll send those out, of course.
Okay, Glenn, are you going to be here the 21st?
Yes, I will.
Okay, I will not be. That conflicts with my bank board meeting. So, gotta go to the people that pay me.
Yes.
Yep, so, Glenn, you'll take care of the committee meetings then, and I'll be here for the board.
Yep. Okay.
Tuesday and Tuesday.
Yep, Tuesday and Tuesday
Because of the
kind
holiday.
of gets us around Thanksgiving holiday.
Okay, sounds good.
You didn't want to cook for us.
No, actually, you don't want me to cook for you.
That's one thing